What's good, y'all? I'm here to talk about the really awesome and very much needed Talonflame buffs and changes in this hack. I want to get some things right out of the way before I get into any disclaimer stuff. Intimidate. You might think it's weird. You might think it's lazy. Intimidate is needed on Pokemon in a crazy round hack like this where everything is super strong. There's tons of crit moves that bypass right through Intimidate. Intimidate is not nearly as oppressive as it used to be. Logically, the Pokedex word for word calls Talonflame intimidating several times. One of these literally says it to intimidate opponents and sends embers spewing from gas between its feathers. Is that the most perfect logic? No. I considered abilities like Aerolate. It no longer has Gale Wings. Gale Wings in Gen 7 is garbage, and I cannot change it. It's good for early game with the totems and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. It's not useless. You know, you got priority Beta Dance when you're full HP, priority Z move for like Totem Rock when it could be kind of cool, or Totem Lurantis or something. It's not terrible. But after that point, it's bad. It's not good anymore. Gen 7, Gale Wings was nerfed if you're not familiar. It doesn't work unless you're on full HP, and that's just not good enough. Okay, it's not good enough. It's not going to cut it in a ROM hack like this. The power levels in this ROM hack are crazy. Not to mention I've buffed and changed 600 plus moves, so definitely give those a look in the description down below. Quick little plug there, very important. But back on topic with the abilities, I want to get these out of the way because I know people are going to see this and be like, why do you remove Gale Wings from Talonflame? Why does everything have Intimidate? First of all, not everything has Intimidate, and also even in vanilla games, Intimidate is one of the most common, I believe actually the most common ability in the entire game, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, great. And the main reason I did that, not only does it fit flavor-wise, I mean, it's also just this large, imposing bird. It's not just a Pokedex. I mean, it's not like it doesn't fit. Because there's tons of other dex entries that say they're intimidating, but the Pokemon doesn't really look intimidating at all. But for Talonflame, I mean, look at it. It's like similar logic as to why Staraptor had the ability. It doesn't have it anymore, but you get the idea. So that's Intimidate logic for you. And the main reason I picked it is because there's no other ability that's as good as Reckless that isn't better than Reckless strictly. For example, something like Aerolate was considered for a long time, but Aerolate is kind of balls because, like, yeah, Giga Impact is super strong, 160 base power, -2 attack, but other than Giga Impact, there's not too much to abuse with it. You would just be using Aerolate until you get Brave Bird. You would be using Aerolate, and then the second you learn Brave Bird, you're teaching Brave Bird, and you're never using Aerolate again because Aerolate boosted Double Edge is the exact same power as Reckless boosted Brave Bird, so there's no point in running Aerolate anymore. Extreme Speed is also not worth it when you have 147 base speed. Speaking of, I do have this handy little speed tier guide here. I'm gonna switch tabs like an idiot and watch it lag for 20 minutes and probably hang the video, but it's whatever. I'll do it anyways because I do want to show off where it matches up. So Talonflame, not only did it lose the Gale Wings, but also like flavor-wise, this Pokemon is supposed to be one of the fastest of all time. This animal, like the real life equivalent, I believe is the Peregrine Falcon or something, is one of the, if not the fastest animal in the world. So it should be in the top like 10 fastest Pokemon. Currently, it is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, number 8 if you don't count Mega Mewtwo's and Rayquaza. So that's pretty fucking great. That's a great speed tier. It outspeeds all kinds of crazy stuff. Very, very nice. And a lot of these cases, you actually won't have to run any speed investment whatsoever. So for Intimidate sets, especially, that's great. Also, even for Reckless sets, to take a hit when you switch in. Fire Flying is actually a very good defensive typing. You don't have to worry about entry hazards in this hack. They're not very common because the AI doesn't really know how to abuse them, like, you know, versus the player. You're switching around, but not as much as you would be in like a 6v6 competitive singles game where you're fighting against AI who also switches, you know? So hazards are not really a factor, and because of that, you know, Pokemon that are weak to rocks, it doesn't matter. This is not a factor in this hack for the most part. Maybe one boss fight might use rocks for like the meme, but it's not really a viable strategy to give the AI. But regardless, Intimidate, very, very good. Very, very nice for checking. It makes Talonflame much bulkier than it looks. 78, 71, 69 with investment is great. 147 by speed. Like I said, you don't need to run speed investment. Keep in mind, in this hack, you're not guaranteed perfect IVs, at least until you get battle caps after post-game, and you're not guaranteed like a plus speed nature or anything. So, you know, if you have like mediocre speed IVs and a neutral speed nature, you'll still outspeed probably like base 120 max speed Pokemon, something like that with max investment. So that is a really nice thing of having a max speed because Pokemon aren't as fast as they might appear, at least for the player's use. For the AI's use, of course, they're all going to have perfect IVs and stuff, but that's a different story. In general, Intimidate's great. All right, hopefully that clears up like why I chose it. Aerolate is crap compared to Reckless. I don't want an ability that's just like pretty much outclassed entirely later on in the game. I don't like that idea because I do balance every ability to have use, no matter what. I want every ability to be useful because you do have access to that infinite usability capsule. Fletchinder is a kind of an exception because like I'll keep Gale Wings for the soul on Fletchinder, and it's also not terrible. Like Intimidate's probably better 95% of the time, but you know there might be that little off chance that you'll be using Gale Wings for a totem battle or to KO a specific Pokemon or whatever. I don't know. It's situationally pretty decent. You know, like I don't know, Tailwind or some shit to out prioritize Taunt, for example. Like maybe there's a Prankster Taunt. I don't know. It's useful enough, all right? And I'm not going to remove it from the entire evolutionary line. Also, as for the kicking moves, I did give them Megaton Kick and Blaze Kick. Those might seem fucking weird too. And honestly, I would agree with you. But if you read the Pokedex, this is one of those cases where it's just read the Pokedex. It literally says it finishes its prey off with a colossal kick. It attacks with a powerful kick and grasps them firmly. It approaches at high speed and smacks them to the ground with its powerful kick. Yada yada yada. So Megaton Kick, great ground type coverage move. It also has Brave Bird, which is Reckless boosted and not recoil, so you could use Wide Lens, but you'd probably rather run Shell Bell or some other item with the regular recoil moves because Shell Bell gives you 20% recovery now. So moves like Play Rough and Takedown, which are 110 base power, will deal 0% recoil with Shell Bell. Flare Blitz and Brave Bird will only deal 5%, while Blazing Assault will deal 10% with Shell Bell, of course. Normally that's 30, 25, and 20% recoil moves. And Blazing Assault is incredibly powerful. Brave Bird and Flare Blitz are also very strong. It has a newfound 111 base attack stat. 81 was absolutely pathetic. The only reason Talonflame was ever good in Gen 6 is because of how broken Gale Wings was. And honestly, in-game in a ROM hack, like that wouldn't even be that good because it's already naturally fast. Obviously, in competitive is a different story, but every Pokemon in this hack has access to priority of some form. And so that also makes fast, frail offensive attackers a lot less easy to just spam. Not to mention the climate in general is pretty hostile towards them because you have to pivot in. A lot of the times you can't hard switch in unless you're very smart with how you're exploiting the AI or whatever. Different story. I don't want to get into that in this video, but my point is Talonflame really appreciates having that defensive ability and Intimidate and that offensive ability and Reckless to switch between for later in the game. And you're not always going to need that Reckless power boost. You know, your moves are already very strong without it. It's just for situations where you need the power boost. That's really about it. Otherwise, he's just the GOAT. I don't know what else to say. It's got super cool utility options, like I said. It's very fast. It's one of the fastest Pokemon in the game, as it should be. Pretty damn strong. You even have funny stuff like Overheat, which is recoil special, it's special Flare Blitz. So at level 40, that's really early, so you can make use of that until you get... their fire moves are kind of sparse, at least their physical fire moves, because like just the nature of what they are, they're a Firebird. So they only have Priority, Pyro Dash, and Heat Crash being pretty damn weak because Fletchinder is not the heaviest Pokemon. Those moves will have to do until 25. You get Raging Fury, that's 50 base power and gives you +1 attack. That does double in power if the opponent is faster, but Fletchinder is very fast already for that point in the game, and Talonflame's even faster, so it's not great. But by the time you get Talonflame, you'll have that Blaze Kick TM coming up on early Ula Ula Island, which is nice, 95 base power move. And then you'll get Solar Strike, which is Fire type close combat, which is really nice until level 50 when you get the Flare Blitz and all that fun stuff. So yeah. Otherwise, great coverage moves, at least everything it would need. It's not like anything too crazy, but that fighting, that fairy, you know, even stuff like Bug and Dark, and, you know, you got what you'll need. It's nothing too crazy, but it's also, like, the nature of what it is. It's just a bird. It's kind of hard to give them coverage moves that make sense. Not to mention not everything needs coverage. You can always just switch out. Yeah, I'll leave the video off there. Good utility Pokemon. Good, strong, fast offensive attacker. That speed is super nice. The ability is super nice. Very fitting abilities. I also, yeah, another thing is, if you listen this far into the video, hopefully you know this by now, but I can't change the coding of abilities in most cases. Only a few I could for. I could take certain attributes on moves to make them affected by a certain ability, but other than that, I can't change. For example, I can't make Gale Wings work like it used to. I can't do that. I don't have the freedom in a Gen 7 ROM hack to do that. So yeah, this is about it. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Hopefully you found this explanation or style of video entertaining. If you did listen this far into the video, leave a comment down below. Let me know. That would be pretty damn cool. You could be like, yo, I listened this far and what's up? Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll be back for more. Peace.